Time for a new project. I'm going to refurbish my old Harbor Freight trailer. This will be a two-part video. It's the smallest trailer Harbor Freight sells with a 40 by 48 inch frame. I bought it in 2013 and made a wood deck for it. After 7 years of trouble-free service, the wood is starting to rot, and the frame is getting rusty, so it needs to be fixed up. I also took this opportunity to make some modifications. First of all, I want to lower the ride height. Second of all, I want to stretch the frame. The frame is only 4 feet long, but I want to add another 2 feet. Before I do any of that stuff, I need to completely disassemble it. First, the fenders need to come off. Then I need to turn the trailer upside down to remove the wheels and axle and disconnect the wood deck from the frame. The springs on this trailer are really stiff. Other people mentioned removing leaves from the springs to soften them up, so I'm going to try that. Alright, let's pull the frame off the old wood deck. I finished disassembling the frame off camera to save time. The paint didn't do a very good job of protecting the metal. The stuff is peeling off in big chunks, and the metal is pretty rusty. First I tried grinding off the rust with a paint stripper disc, but it wasn't doing very well. So I got out the angle grinder. That did the trick. Off camera I gave the frame rails a dose of navel jelly. Then I hit all the rusty spots with etching primer. I'll paint the frame rails later. The suspension springs were also rusty, so I cleaned them up. I did the same thing I did to the frame rails. Grinder, navel jelly, etching primer. Then I painted them black. The axle seems to be in pretty good shape. To reduce the ride height, I'm going to mount the axle on top of the suspension springs. It was originally mounted underneath them. I'll have to turn the axle upside down to do that. And I don't want water collecting in there, so I drilled drain holes in it. Next up is the hardware for the axle and suspension. They also got the angle grinder and navel jelly treatment. But since these pieces are galvanized, I decided to spray them with galvanizing compound. I had an old can of this stuff laying around. Might as well use it. And here are the results. The coupler was also getting pretty rusty, so I cleaned it up too. All the axle and suspension parts are cleaned up, so I might as well assemble them. The springs have these pins on them to locate the axle. Since I'm going to flip the axle upside down, I need to flip those pins upside down also. Here are some shots of the assembled suspension. The axle flip should reduce ride height by about 2 inches. You can also see the leaves I removed from the springs. Okay, that's it for part 1. In part 2, I'm going to stretch the frame and build the new wood deck. Thanks for watching.